Welcome back to Table for Two, the podcast where faith, family, and real life meet around the table.
We're Jason and Nicole Barnett, and today we're talking about one of the greatest miracles we've witnessed in ministry.
No, not a healing.
No.
Not a revival service.
Nah.
Chicken.
Specifically, enough chicken.
Because there was a moment recently where we were genuinely concerned that there was not going to be enough chicken.
And when you're hosting a celebration meal after baptisms, running out of food is a special kind of pastoral anxiety.
And today, in this episode, we're talking about church life, community, ministry wins, answered prayers, and some of the things God has been doing at Ravenna Church of the Nazarene over the last year.
Including the miracle of chicken.
So pull up a chair and let's get started. This is Table for Two.
Through storms and swallowed our noise, church keys in hand, coffee and mugs, our lives held together by grace and a few hugs. They said she submits, we said we both do. It's not about ladders, it's me and you, serving the kingdom in aprons and jeans, laugh lines and calloused hands and holy routines. At this table for two, there's room for you. Pull up a chair, we'll tell the truth. From love and faith with the side of faith-filled talk.
All right, before we jump into today's conversation, that sounded weird. but before we get to the real conversation, let's start with a question.
If you've spent any time around church people, you probably have an answer to this one.
So please feel free to drop it in the comments of the show notes or wherever you're listening at. We would love to hear your stories.
Absolutely.
But here's the lighthearted question for today. It's, what is the worst church potluck disaster you've ever witnessed?
Not just heard about, but actually witnessed.
Not something somebody told you happened.
Something you personally witnessed.
Yeah. So if you're thinking your church has never had a potluck disaster,
you might have been the disaster.
It might be your dish. All right, so Nicole, would you like to go first, or would you like...
Why don't you share yours?
Okay.
I've got a doozy.
Now, my disaster was 100% my fault.
100%.
So I was a youth pastor serving in Pennsylvania, and we were heading into, I think it was year 3.
Mm-hmm.
And we were at a point where we needed help. We needed help in the worst way possible. So I decided that I was going to persuade volunteers in the best way I know how. Bribery.
Food, specifically.
Food. And so I announced to the whole church that, hey, this specific Sunday after church, we are going to have a chili supper for anyone who is interested in helping work with the teen group. And that was my announcement. So I'm thinking...
Like 5 people.
5 people are going to show up because this is an informational dinner requesting people to help.
And just talking about the routine.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
Yeah, that was the whole plan. And so I made a crock pot. Now, keep in mind, I have a really large crock pot, and I always overmake chili when I make chili.
When he makes chili, we're usually eating it for a week and a half.
Yeah, we have chili, leftover chili, chili dogs.
Chili mac.
Chili mac.
Chili...
More chili mac.
Yeah.
And then the dogs get chili. Yeah. But I'm feeding... Again, I'm thinking it's only 5 more. And then a lady in the church asked, I think it was the pastor's wife, like, hey, do you need another crock pot? She's like, yeah, sure, why not? Let's have 2. So we had 2 crock pots full of chili. The day arrives. Again, 2 crock pots of chili. And we go back to this dinner. Again, I'm anticipating 5 people. The entire church stays. I mean, I don't know if you've seen that episode of The Office where Jim and Pam, and Cece's christening, and they don't have enough sandwiches.
It was like that.
It was exactly like that. I didn't have enough chili, and I prayed and prayed that God would divide that chili and make a miracle happen. He did not.
No, you did not. Did you get any chili?
I didn't even get a bowl of chili. The senior pastor didn't get any chili.
I don't think I got any.
Nicole didn't. Most people there didn't get chili. Some people may have got lucky and got crackers or cheese or maybe a piece of diced onion, but everybody went home hungry. And my senior pastor at the time still does not let me live that down. Or the time I burnt the hamburgers. But
to be fair, every time we've asked for help for anything, it had been like 3 or 4 people showing up, not 30.
Yeah, well, again, I underestimated the bribery level that food was.
Well, and also the willingness of that church to help out. Yeah. Like we were not used to that at all.
Which at that time too, I would do like a little award ceremony at the end of the school year for the students. And again, it was based off the Dundies. I'm a huge Office fan. And we called them the Solo Awards. And Nicole made trophies out of red Solo cups.
They were awesome.
And they like just random awards for every kid. And I did it 3 times. The first time I did it, and it was just very low key. Everybody brought desserts. But the church leaders there saw what I was doing, and they said, we're in charge of the food side of this from now on.
And the decorations.
So they would go
went
on
all
that.
out the following year.
A couple years. But I did not let them help me with this chili supper because I was trying to drum up help, and well...
Maybe you should have asked for
that
help.
was my potluck disaster.
Yeah. Mine was quite a bit before that, but it was the same church. And I'm very glad that they asked us to stay even after this, because it was our... What was it? Was it our first official Sunday there? Jason?
I think so.
Yeah. It was very shortly after we had gotten there. That much I do know. They had a potluck, and I think it was our very first Sunday because they had a potluck, and it was kind of to welcome us. But, we were just kind of going about doing our thing and visiting with people, getting to know people. And my daughter had been, our daughter, Jaden, had been running around, playing with the other couple of kids that attended the church all the time. And we weren't really thinking anything of it. She was safe. She was fine. And all of a sudden, I turn around and I see a pile of clothes that had once been on my daughter.
I thought the rapture happened, and everybody missed it but Jaden.
And when I say a pile of clothes, I mean everything, including her pull-up. It was on the floor in the middle of the fellowship hall, in the midst of everybody eating. And so I have to go on a hunt for my nude daughter in the middle of the potluck. And I ended up finding her in the sanctuary. She was running the aisles naked. I think that was Nazarene in her blood a little bit with the running of the aisles, but yes, I think she went a little too far with the nudity.
She went the opposite way.
Fortunately, everybody thought it was cute.
She was little enough.
Yeah, she wasn't even. She had just turned 2.
Yeah,
that was it. Yeah,
yeah. So that's our horror stories. But again, we'd love to hear yours. Please share them with us. We'd love to hear them. Hey, Nicole, I think you got a text message. All right, for those that don't know, this is all fiction. It's like Whose Line Is It Anyway, where all the points are made up. Wait. Where all the questions are made up and the points don't matter. Well, the scenario is made up based on fictional people, not real. But the points might be helpful to you or somebody you know. So we're going to check back in with our little fictional family.
Yes. So yes, again, the messages are fictional. These have no tie to anybody real whatsoever. It's just a realistic scenario that we're throwing out there. So here is today's message. Okay. It says, "Hey, Nicole, remember how Linda was upset with K-pop demon hunters? Well, now I have a completely different problem. Sadie came home from school crying because her best friend Madison is mad at her. Well, apparently Madison was telling some girls about a new K-pop group she likes, and Sadie told her she was done worshiping Satan. Oh, dear. Well, now Madison won't talk to her. When I asked Sadie why she said that, she told me, well, Grandma said K-pop demon hunters was satanic, and Madison is the one who showed it to me. So in Sadie's mind, she was just trying to help her friend, but Madison's mom has already texted me. Sadie said everyone is being mean to her. Madison said Sadie called her a Satan worshiper. And, of course, my mother-in-law says Sadie was just standing up for her faith. I feel like I want to move to another state. Please help."
So this is our fictional mother, Amber, dealing with her 11-year-old daughter, Sadie, right? And so if you missed the first part of the story, check out last week's episode, but this is kind of the continuation of that. Starters, I don't think Sadie's intention was cruelty to her friends.
No.
I think she was wanting to help her friends not be wrapped up in something that she thought was wrong. Now, again, if you listened last week, there's nothing wrong with K-pop Demon Hunters, the movie.
No.
I
mean, anything can be bad if you make it that way.
Yeah.
But K-pop Demon Hunters by itself is not a bad satanic movie or anything like that.
But I also think Sadie took a step too far, right? Because Madison, that's her friend, right, wasn't talking about K-pop Demon Hunters. Maybe she's just talking about K-pop bands anyway, which, again, I'm an old person that's still confused by all of this, trying to figure it out. But I know that's different, right? So, but in Sadie's mind, she's lumping all those things together that don't go together.
Well,
she's branding a whole thing.
Doesn't that happen with a lot of things, though? Like, we are so quick to lump things together and to categorize everything associated with like one genre and assume that it has the same intention and the same morality, which again, it's amoral, but
right.
But we do that, and Sadie's 11. She's going to make that mistake, and of course,
we make that mistake, and I'm 39.
Yeah. But her grandma's not helping anything.
No.
I'm not a fan of Linda. I'm just going to say.
but again, now Sadie wasn't intending to be cruel or mean to her friend here. But that's what happened.
Yeah.
The way she went about it. Now, again, Mom, I'm assuming Mom wasn't there and Madison's mom weren't there, right?
I'm assuming it was at school.
It happens at school, most likely. And the parents are just trying to piece together what happened based on what their children are telling them. And their children are always going to tell you their side of the story. And again, we do our best to believe our kids, but sometimes they're going to leave out the details that maybe aren't exactly the way they said them.
Yeah.
Right. They might change a few details, whether they intend to or not.
Yeah. But the thing that I want to ask is, how much of Sadie assuming K-pop as a whole is demonic? How much of her assuming that is tied to what she's been listening to from the people in her life, the adults influencing her? I mean, kids absorb a lot. It actually kind of reminds me of the episode of The Office. Again, another Office reference. Sorry, folks. But do you remember when Jim runs into that childhood friend of his?
Right.
Where he's
the one that was too dumb to be in the same reading group as Jim.
Yeah. Well, Jim. Yeah. So the premise of that episode is Jim runs into this childhood friend, and he's trying to not be noticed by this friend because they had a falling out. Well, eventually he comes clean to Pam and explains why. And his mother, when they were kids, they had been placed in different reading groups. And his mother had told Jim that you should hang out with the kids in your reading group because they'll be a good influence. And then Jim went back to school and told his friend, who was in a lower reading group, "You're too dumb to hang out with." And so, but that wasn't necessarily Mom's intention. And so this wasn't necessarily Grandma's intention either. But that's the gist of the message that she's giving.
Yeah.
And so that's what's going to be repeated.
Yeah. So yeah, Sadie's picked up this conviction on some, she's wanted to be respectful to her grandmother. And honestly, she's trying to honor Jesus the best she can because of the influence that that her grandmother has. But the way it came out
was not appropriate.
It was not the right way to do it. And so the other thing what we have to advise Amber to do at this point too is she needs to talk to Sadie about, listen, it's okay that you have this conviction this way, but we're not supposed to be a stumbling block to somebody else. We're not supposed to take our convictions and use them as a club to beat other people up with,
no.
Right?
We need to think about other people's feelings on this.
So I guess if you're going to respond to this text from Amber, what would you say in the text message response to her?
Well, I would encourage her to talk to Sadie about the difference between the K-pop genre and the movie itself. The movie is not all encompassing for K-pop. K-pop is a wide range of music, believe it or not, with a lot of different groups, a lot of different messages in those groups. And yes, there are some groups that I would advise people avoid. And then there are some pretty awesome ones too. Just like any genre of music. But so I would encourage her to have that discussion with Sadie, but then I would also encourage her to be like, hey, Madison is like, she's not worshiping Satan here. Mm-hmm. Her interest in another culture's music and another culture's entertainment is not satanic. That's actually something that should be commended, something that should be encouraged, because it teaches empathy and it teaches compassion for that culture.
Doesn't mean you have to agree with it necessarily, but it gives some connection. Mm-hmm.
So I would encourage her to talk to Sadie about that, and also ask Sadie, is there like anything specific that you're feeling, or are you just echoing what Grandma said? Yeah. Because there's a difference between us having our own convictions and then just believing that because somebody's older that they have the absolute authority on things. Yeah. And then I would talk to her about knowing the difference with that. That's
great. And actually, that kind of ties in something I've been reading in Job today. In the book of Job, the majority of it, we know Job's friends are going to get reprimanded by God at the end of the story, right? Yeah. And so they come, the three friends come and sit. There's actually four, but three of them come and sit with Job. They're Job's peers or his age bracket, revered men of the community. And so you get through all their speeches, and then Elihu is the last one, and he's the young buck of the bunch. And as I was reading today, it says he gets angry. He gets angry at Job because Job is saying things about God that's making him question his own faith. But then he gets mad at the other three friends because these were men in the community that he looked up to and revered, and thought, not to the point where he thought they were going to come and set Job straight. And when they failed to do so, and he realized that these men were the superheroes he thought, it angered him and upset him. Yeah. So again, it's teaching our kids, okay, it's okay to respect this person and believe that
they have the best intentions
and they are godly people. But it's important too that we develop our own convictions. We work out our own salvation with fear and trembling, not basing it on the superheroes of the faith.
Well, and I kind of feel like people have that issue with pastors too. I mean, it's maybe not so common anymore, but like I remember growing up, there were, certain people that I'd talked to where anything the pastor said, they would just take it to the bank. Yeah. And it's like, well, they could be wrong. This person could be wrong. And it was actually, I kind of grew up believing that initially. And then all of a sudden my mom had a falling out with the pastor, and suddenly she went from believing that he was the bee's knees and had ultimate spiritual insight to believing that he was a horrible, horrible person and not really in seeking God and everything. And it kind of wrecked me for a little while there, where it was like, who can I trust if not the pastor? But fortunately I was able to get past that. But that's the thing, like, pastors are human, your grandparents are human, your parents are human. So even the faith that we have that's like based on what they taught us, it should be evaluated and it should be considered, like deeply examined. Because just because they're older and wiser doesn't mean that they're actually wiser.
Yeah. So again, work out your own salvation with fear. It doesn't mean you're disrespectful to those people or you ignore them, right? It just means when they tell you something, you still got to take it and apply it in your own life, right? It's rarely as much in life A plus B equals C. Yeah. There's not a lot of formulas. Usually there's some. That's actually a good segue into our main talking point for today. And so really we're going to talk about really why this episode is titled "Let There Be Chicken." But there's more to it than that too. And I think that really ties into this, because we're going to talk a little bit about our philosophy in doing church revitalization. And again, so much of that people think there's A plus B equals C, and
It's
not. Like, you can take things from other people to share. There's a lot of good revitalizers out there.
But we've been to we've been pastors at 3 churches that were in desperate need of revitalization. And all 3 churches were very different.
Yeah. And so you can't do A plus B equals C at all 3 places. You have to learn you have to learn your context before you can try and apply anything.
Yes.
When I say learn your context, I mean, you got to get to know your people and fall in love with your people. But we'll get to that in a minute. But first, let's talk about why this is called Let There Be Chicken. So we've had an amazing year here at Ravenna. We saw 23 people give their life to Jesus,
which was incredible.
We baptized 7. We took in 4 new members this year, which is awesome.
I thought we upped it a little bit. Maybe not. Maybe I'm.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Anyway, so we've had a baptism since then.
Yeah.
But I guess we baptized 3. No, it was 4 a couple weeks ago, or in April we baptized 4. And so we decided we were going to have a church dinner to celebrate this. And we're a church where we don't have a baptistry in our building. We do have a baptistry, but not one physically in the building.
It's in the fellowship.
It's in the fellowship hall. It's a portable one on wheels. We've talked about potentially trying to wheel it into the sanctuary, but it's quite the wheel across the compound, uphill both ways in the snow. And then we're not entirely sure, though, if we get it into the sanctuary, put it on the platform and fill it with water, that the platform was designed to hold what it would have to hold. I would hope it is, but we decided we're not going to test that theory. So
at least not yet.
So our baptism is in our fellowship hall, which definitely can hold that. So we had it filled up, and we were planning to have this meal. But typically, most church potlucks work this way. Part of the congregation will stay and eat, and part of them will go home. Typically. But our church was so excited
about these 4 getting baptized.
That everybody stayed to eat, which, I'm not, if you're listening to this, we're not a mega church. We're not a super big church. We're a church that averages about 40 on a given week. But we had over 50 there that Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And they all stayed to eat. Well, we had been planning this meal all week, and so we had ordered 75 pieces of chicken.
Because that's Jason ordered 100 one time, and we had so much left over.
Our ladies were running down people out the door and putting chicken in their pocket to make sure they got rid of the chicken. And so we didn't want to do that again. So again, we only ordered 75 pieces. And me and another gentleman were sitting in the back watching everybody go through the line, and we realized we're on our last box of chicken, and there's still at least 10 to 15 people that had to go through the line yet. Now, we had other things too. Other people brought other meats in and other dishes and plenty of desserts and things like that, but the chicken was getting low, and we were beginning to pray. I was like, "Dear Jesus, will you bless this chicken and multiply it
the way you did
the way I did the fishes?" But I was more afraid it was gonna be like when I did it with the chili, and that did not happen with the chili because of my poor planning. So I'm like, "It's chili 2.0, but instead of chili, it's chicken." And so we watched, but praise the Lord, we ended up having enough chicken. It was just enough.
I think we had 5 pieces left over or something like that.
But it was just the right amount. But we were so excited still, though. And it was one of those dinners, too, where it wasn't just about the chicken. It's about celebrating what God has been doing over the last year at this church. God has been doing incredible things. And that was the exclamation point to end that church year. Was baptizing those 4 individuals.
Yeah, that was incredible.
And to me, it's awesome because 2 of the people we baptized were children. Mm-hmm. One was our own daughter, which is always a blessing to baptize. It was our youngest. So now we've baptized all 3 of ours. One was a girl that had only been one other time.
Was it only once?
She came to a couple of kids groups after that, but she'd only been to church once when she asked to be baptized.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize.
I'm pretty sure. Her mom can message and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure she'd only been here once at that point. And then a couple that had been coming to our church for a year and giving their life to Jesus, become faithful in attending, and they decided that this was their moment. And we got to baptize them. So it was exciting. And for me, what's exciting about it is knowing where the church was when we got here. I don't know if you want to share about, our first interview and what it was like coming into this building. There were so many wonderful adults here for that.
But there was 2 kids.
Besides ours.
2 children that attended this church besides our 3. So when we interviewed, was the youngest even there yet? Like, Jake and Kira weren't there yet.
Jake and Kira were there.
Were they at the interview?
I'm pretty sure they were there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were there.
Okay.
And they had Brody, but Clayton wasn't born yet.
No, Clayton wasn't. But there was
Clayton was there, but he wasn't there.
There was their son, Brody, and then his uncle, who is right sandwiched between Ben and Emrys.
Right.
And so he, 2 children, 2 little boys, and we came in and we're like, okay, they don't have a kids ministry, so yay for that. But what else is new? That's been the way. So I was brainstorming different ways that we could build up a children's ministry and make people feel welcome to attend with kids, even if we don't have children's church or a Sunday school class. But they got a Sunday school class started, which was really nice.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of really wonderful adults, just no kids.
Yeah. But they wanted kids.
Yeah.
They knew they needed kids.
But, they were at the age where, they had already raised their kids, and their kids, some of them didn't have kids. Some of them had moved to Lexington, so it was unrealistic for them to come an hour away for church every day and every Sunday. So, it was just one of those things where they were having to reach out into the community and they just didn't know how.
Yeah. And so we didn't, I'll be honest, we didn't really know how either. Now, one thing we did know from the interview process and even now is the church's mission field is very easy to find because our church is literally across the street from a park.
Yeah.
That park is our mission field.
Yeah.
Like, the people that come to that park are the people that we need to be ministering to.
Yeah.
You don't have to look very far. They're right there.
And more than once, I've taken the kids over to the park and parents have struck up conversations and they're like, oh, where are you from? And I'll tell them the whole spiel of how Jason and I are from 2 different states and neither of us are from Kentucky.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, well, why'd you move here? And well, we're the pastors at the church across the street. Oh, that's
so
really
cool.
great.
Yeah. And even sometimes too, and very recently, we met a mom and her daughter over there, and they just ended up in our group photo with the kids group because So again, talking about we have a kids group now. Like our kids ministry last 2 weeks. Last week was 20 kids, and 2 weeks ago was 20 kids. Last week was 17.
Well, the week before that was 18.
Yeah. So a lot of kids to the point where our van holds 11, and we can't put any more in there.
Nope.
And a couple times we have a wonderful gentleman helps us pick up kids. Nicole helps us pick up kids, but it's been entertaining. It's been interesting to figure that out. But kind of what kicked off the kids ministry here and how we helped grow. Again, we didn't come in with a box set of plan. We didn't say we're going to do it this way. We just sat down and we thought, okay, what can we do? And the first thing was we got here in the summer, so a lot of churches were wrapping up the VBS cycle. And if you know anything about vacation Bible schools, every church does it in the summer.
Every church.
Right. Especially in a little town like we're in. Not knocking that. It's wonderful. But I also know as a parent that this is an easy way to get free childcare for 2 hours. Right. And so my kids who are at church every time the doors are open because they have to be, a lot of summers they would ride the vacation Bible school circuit because we would just take them and also, I thought this is a good way for them to make friends in these new communities.
And it's also a way for us to meet the pastoral groups in the area.
Yeah.
Who else is pastoring in this area that we can pick brains and things like that.
And now, again, I'm not knocking Vacation Bible School. Vacation Bible School is an important tool. Mm-hmm. And I can't tell you how many adults I've talked through the years that have gotten saved because as a kid at Vacation Bible School and have faithfully walked with Jesus ever since then. So we didn't want to ignore that. So what we did was,
we realized that our school district has fall break, which I'm not used to. I didn't get fall break growing
We got
up.
fall break, but it was just Thursday and Friday.
Yeah.
And then you got the weekend.
But this school district usually has a full week for fall break, and we're like, that's a perfect time because we're in Eastern Kentucky. Eastern Kentucky is notorious for being impoverished, and that's not to say everybody in our area is, struggling financially, but
or destitute or anything like that.
But the thing is there are a lot of children in our school district who are struggling financially, who are in families that even when they go on, like they have fall break, all it means is that they have one less place where they're going to eat, because the school provides their food, and their parents aren't able to feed them lunch because they've already budgeted for dinner. And so we're like, we could do it. We could do it. Yeah, we could do it during fall break. And then because I have a passion for it, and now you do too, I decided I was going to write the VBS curriculum and save the church a little bit of money. And so the last several years I've written the VBS curriculum, but we've started doing VBS during fall break. So children are able to come at a time that, other churches aren't having anything.
But we also knew by doing it that way, you're not going to get the good little church kids that have grown up in church. You might get a few. You might get the ones from your own church, but you're most likely, and you're probably not going to get the
wealthy ones because they're on vacation.
Yeah, or you're not going to get the kids that have that churchy background, right? So and you're not going to get the big bus loads that a lot of people aim for with Vacation Bible School. But at the same time, too, we also knew our church. We have some wonderful volunteers. We have wonderful people that will work hard. They love Jesus. They love their kids, but love the kids of the community. But we also knew we didn't want to overwhelm that, and so we did the fall. We knew with fall break, it was going to we didn't know what there was not like a number cap, but we knew it was going to put a cap on what that could possibly be, and we still end up with about 20 to 25 kids.
Mm-hmm.
The 3 times we've done it, but the thing is, the kids that have come in were kids from the community. They weren't going to church anywhere, and those kids got saved, and they got excited about Jesus. They come into church, and they started coming on Sunday mornings, and to the point where you have them passing out bulletins at the door, and they're waving at people passing by, hollering at them, trying to get them to come in the door because they're just so excited to be here. Everything they experience is new because they've never experienced church like this before. So they're excited to be there. They want to learn everything and see everything. And it's just wonderful.
And I'll tell you, that fire is contagious.
Yeah. And
Talk about the little child.
So that's how God took one simple idea that was kind of out of the box, but wrapped in a very old common method used.
And just repurposed it.
And repurposed it and used it to reach people for Jesus. Which in this case, it was kids. And so again, we've seen kids get baptized, start following Jesus. And actually now one of those kids didn't just, he's been coming for 3 years now. And not only has he been baptized, or no, he's not been baptized yet, but he's following Jesus, but he's working and running the sound for us, which is awesome.
Because I am horrible with that soundboard. I was the one having to do it.
Now not every family is, their families aren't necessarily all coming to church yet, but they're now connected to the church, and a lot of them are watching online and cheerleading us online, and they also know that they can come and talk to us at any. Yeah,
and honestly, it's not about getting people coming through the doors. It's about building relationship and letting them know that we're part of their team.
Yeah,
like that's kind of my thing. Is so many times we look at people as another possible attendee, and I try not to look at people like that because I don't want there to be a hidden agenda in my building relationship with them. I just want them to know that I will be their person if they need me to be.
Yeah, you love them.
Yeah,
right where they are, and it's kind of a good segue for the next thing I want to talk about with what God's been doing here. Mm-hmm. Because again, love has to be genuine. So if love is genuine for the people in your life, if you're loving them genuinely, that means you don't have an agenda. It's not a hidden agenda. You're just loving them where they're at. Now, as believers, we are called to go make disciples. Now, going and making disciples is not the same as filling church pews.
No.
Right? that's the goal of making disciples is getting people to Jesus and let Jesus transform them. So again, we as a church, we needed something. We needed to do something. So I began to pray in the fall of 2025 of, God, what can we do next? Like, not like a next check mark thing, but God, how can we reach more people? How can we get excited about reaching people? And he gave me this idea of, let's call it 80 for Easter. Easter was coming. Churches are always hoping for more people on Easter. Now, I'm not one of those pastors that I don't like to add a lot of extra bells and whistles to Easter Sunday. Jesus is the reason why we're there celebrating.
Yeah.
Not knocking people that do those things, but the other side of that is I don't want people to come on Easter and then come the week after Easter and see that it's completely different and feel like they were sold something that's not
real,
not accurate about your church. So we kind of keep it low-key. But anyway, for 80 for Easter, we started actually the month before Ash Wednesday. Into Ash Wednesday, I started telling the church people, hey, we're going to do this 80 for Easter thing. I'll explain more. But start praying for 3 to 5 people. Not 3 to 5 random people, but people that you know and love that need to know Jesus. That Jesus loves them, that Jesus can transform their life. And so that's where we started. It was about getting them to Jesus, not necessarily to our church. And I didn't share any of that yet. So people started praying for those 3 to 5. Then Ash Wednesday happened, and the first Sunday of Lent, I kind of explained, okay, now we've been praying for these 3 to 5 people. They're a burden on your heart. They're someone that you love, you care about, you want to see them come to Jesus. And now I want you to pray about an opportunity to invite them.
Yeah.
And not just, but then we gave us some tools to do that. Like, so we came up with some gift bags, and had a wonderful volunteer order everything and put the bags together for me. But in that bag was like a snack, because again, food, I'm not above bribery of food. There's like a little figure of Jesus in there because everybody needs a little Jesus. And then
WWJD bracelets.
WWJD bracelets, because someone had donated them to me and I didn't know what else to do with them. And I thought, these are cool little thing to give away. And there's a Ravenna pin, and then there was a card in there advertising our Easter service and Easter egg hunt. But I told them, I want you to take this and invite them, but don't just give them an empty card. I want you to write something personal on it.
Yeah.
And why this is important to you. And then go give it to somebody. Now, and too, as a pastor, I participated in this. Like, I prayed about people, that I generally want to see come to know Jesus, or people I knew were hurting that could use Jesus and use fellowship and community for their healing. And so I began to pray for opportunities to pass those bags out. And the church, the Holy Spirit used it. The church bought in. And they were praying. They invited their loved ones. They gave out the gift bags. I think we gave out every gift bag but like 3. We had 40 bags made up. And
the funny thing is I told my students about it, and they got all excited. They wanted to do it, so I ended up purchasing some supplies so they could do that. But for that one, I was just like, I don't remember what I wrote on the card, but I made cards and I gave them the same instructions. You guys write a personal note, and give them to somebody you care about that, doesn't go to church. And if they end up going to a different church, celebrate that. Like, that's exciting. But of course, if they come with you, that's awesome. That's great too, because, you get to join them. You get to be a part of it. And as far as I know, every single one of the kids passed at least one bag out.
That's awesome.
I had a couple ask if they could put together a second bag the following, the next day, because they had already given it away. And I was like, yay.
And that's awesome. And see, that's what surprised me. Your kids respond that way, and then the people here respond that way. Because again, you can have the best advertising scheme you want, but what really gets people in the doors of your church is the people that love them and care about them, inviting them, and letting them know they're welcome. And so they got excited, and we're doing that. But the really cool part of the story was, for me, so somewhere in the middle of all this, I'm so focused on that. Okay, we're trying, we're praying for 80 for Easter again. I told them it wasn't about having 80 people in the pews. It's about us understanding what our mission was. It's getting people to Jesus, and that every single person matters, and it takes all of us praying and putting in the work to do that. And so we're praying about that, and we're all doing our thing. And then on one day, I go and check the church voicemail. And there was a lady calling to ask for a ride for the church. And it surprised me because it hadn't occurred to me that God would do it without us. Like, I know I like it theologically and mentally, I knew that.
But it just wasn't in the forefront of your mind.
It wasn't in the forefront. I just didn't consider that as a possibility during this. Again, I'm so focused on us doing it and us doing our part and being obedient that God did it. And so this lady.
She'd seen a video Jason had posted a year prior.
Yeah,
and
from another new couple who was new at the time doing a video sharing why they picked our church.
Yeah, and why they had stayed at our church. And well, she recognized them. They're family members. And she saw the video and she's like, I'm going to try out this church. And she's been coming faithfully ever since too. But it was just like crazy because, well, for one thing, Jason never checks the church voicemail.
No, I never check the church voicemail.
So
it's an accident.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
But also the fact that, like, you know, this woman called and she was just asking for a ride to church. And she lives just up the road. Not even that far, but, you know, nobody wants to walk.
Yeah.
And when there's a chance of rain or
yeah.
And it's a hill.
Yeah. So what was exciting about that, so she started coming, and then when she started coming, she kind of for 80 for Easter, she brought her whole family.
Yeah.
So she'd only been here for 3 weeks, and her whole family showed up with her for Easter. So she had 11 guests.
Yeah, I was gonna say
that new couple that, you know, the newer couple that she had seen in the video, they brought new people. The couple I told you that got baptized, they brought friends to church. Our longtime members put in the work and got people, family members of theirs in church, and it was incredible. So we end up hitting 84 for Easter, which was awesome. Like that was double what we normally run. Again, that wasn't the goal, and that's not what had me excited. What had me excited
was how excited
everybody else got, and how they trusted the Spirit and did their part, and they got to see what happens when the church prays, when the church cares, and the church steps out. What God will do. And
they've been excited.
Yeah.
Like that's what's exciting too, is like how, and it's been contagious.
Yeah.
Because even the people who've been coming, like that were a part of, you know, that inviting process, like they're excited to be there, which is really cool.
So again, if you want my philosophy of church revitalization, and I'm not saying this is Nicole's, she can jump in and share where she agrees with it, but it isn't flashy.
No, it's not.
It's going to be hard work. It's not going to be instant success.
It's a slow process because it's relational.
Yeah.
And you don't build relationships with an ad on Facebook.
No, it's not a social media content strategy, right?
No. It's not a gimmick.
Yeah. And you can't go in there thinking, I'm here to grow this church and make it bigger. Your mentality has to be, I'm here to get people for Jesus.
Well, and yes, but also I'm here to be used by Jesus.
Yes, that's a better way to phrase it.
Because church revitalization doesn't always look like numbers either.
No.
Sometimes it's just the people that are currently there growing in their faith.
Yeah.
And building and learning more about Jesus so they can be better disciples. Yeah. And I think that's where a lot of people miss it, is when they think that a church needs to be revitalized, they think it's because there's 4 people in the pews and there needs to be 40, or 40 and there needs to be 400. But there are churches of 100. There's churches of 300 that need to revitalize because they're not growing in their faith. And the growing in their faith starts with relationship.
That's right.
And so it's not flashy.
Yeah.
Relationships aren't flashy. They are familiar, and they are personal, and they're comfortable, but uncomfortable at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's where I can talk to you about the uncomfortable things, but I'm comfortable doing it because I care about you and you care about me. There's a
love that's going to keep both people at the table.
Yeah.
And really that's what made the 80 for Easter for success. That's what made the VBS change a success. It wasn't us. It was the people here loving each other enough loving Jesus enough and trusting us enough, because, again, it was we were doing our best to love them genuinely where they were and where they are, and we still love them where they are. We're walking with them now, but none of these things would have worked without them. Like, it was them trusting the Holy Spirit stepping out with us that did this. Right now, the Holy Spirit did it through us. Like, I don't know. It's hard to put this to words, but it was yes, the Holy Spirit did the work. It was God working and moving through us, but it was our willingness to be obedient, our willingness to see what He was doing and participate that changed things.
Yeah.
So, but hopefully our 2 cents helps you. If you have questions, you want to know more, we'll do our best to help you. Again, we've learned it's not about more programs. It's about community, and community happens at tables.
Yeah. God often works through the ordinary moments in our lives. It's the moments at the park. It's when we're close to running out of chicken.
That's right.
It's the opportunities that, somebody says, "Hey, I'm looking for a church."
Mm-hmm. And all those things, and I've shared this with the church here so many times that they're probably sick of hearing it, but we celebrate those things.
Every single one.
Because, again, the miracle isn't just the person getting saved at the altar. That's amazing. That's what we're aiming for. That's our hope, is seeing sinners come home. But sometimes the miracle is somebody thought about Jesus today. Mm-hmm. Somebody interacted with somebody in a positive way that kind of poked a hole in their boat, right? Where they think church is bad, that Jesus is out to get them.
Bad.
That they experienced it in a way today that poked a little bit of a hole in that boat. That's a miracle that's worth celebrating too. Yeah. So whether your church is big or small, don't worry about that, right? God doesn't care about that as much as we think He does. God cares, are we being faithful and obedient to what He's calling us to do?
Yeah.
So,
Neil, thank you for joining us today as we kind of rambled a little bit.
And hopefully this helps. If it did, please like, subscribe, and share this episode with us. But until next time,
grace and peace.
Through storms and swallowed our noise, church keys in hand, coffee in mugs, our lives held together by grace and a few hugs. They said she submits, we said we both do. It's not about ladders, it's me and you, serving the kingdom in aprons and jeans, lifelines and calloused hands and holy routines. At this table for two, there's room for you. Pull up a chair, we'll tell the truth. From love and faith with the side of faith, real talk, no.
Test, ding, test, 1, 2, 3.